The warden's shoes made no sound on the polished floor. It was 11:47 p.m. Thomas Brennan had 13 minutes left. He sat on the edge of the bed in the holding cell. His hands were folded, not clasped, just resting one over the other. He wasn't praying. He was looking at the wall. The chaplain stood near the door. He'd stopped trying to talk around 11:30. Outside, beyond the thick walls and the security checkpoints and the barbed wire, there were protesters. There were always protesters. Some held signs calling for mercy. Others held signs calling for justice. The prison staff had learned to tune it out years ago. Inside, it was quiet. Thomas Brennan was 41 years old. He'd been on death row for 19 years. The crime happened when he was 22. A convenience store robbery that went wrong. The clerk died. So did a customer who tried to intervene. Brennan was caught 6 hours later, still driving the stolen car. He confessed the same night. At trial, his lawyer argued diminished capacity, drug use, a traumatic childhood. The jury took 4 hours to convict and 2 more to recommend death. Brennan never appealed. His lawyer filed the paperwork anyway. It was standard, automatic. Brennan didn't fight it, but he didn't help either. He sat through the hearings. He answered questions. But when the final appeal was denied 3 months ago, he told his lawyer not to file anything else. "I'm ready," he said. The lawyer didn't believe him. Most of them say that. And then the date gets close. At 11:50, the warden entered the cell. He'd done this 18 times before. It never got easier. It also never got harder. It just was. "Thomas," he said. Brennan looked up. "It's time." Brennan nodded. He stood. His legs didn't shake. 2 guards came in. One carried the restraints. Brennan held out his hands without being asked. The cuffs went on. Then the waist chain. Then the leg irons. The chaplain stepped forward. "Would you like me to walk with you?" Brennan thought about it. "Yeah," he said. "Okay." They moved down the hallway. The lights were fluorescent and too bright. There were cameras in every corner. A few other inmates called out as they passed. Most didn't say anything. The walk took 2 minutes. The execution chamber was smaller than people think. There was the table in the center. The straps. The force stand. Behind a glass partition, the witness gallery. 12 seats. By law, the victim's family got 6. The condemned got 3. The state got 3. Tonight, all 12 were full. Brennan's mother was not there. She died 7 years ago. His sister hadn't visited in a decade. His 3 seats were taken by his lawyer, a paralegal who'd worked on his case, and a priest he'd never met, but who volunteered to come. The victim's family sat in the front row on the other side. A woman in her 60s. A man about the same age. 2 younger people, maybe in their 30s. The woman was the clerk's wife. The younger man was the customer's son. They didn't look at each other. The guards guided Brennan to the table. He lay down. They strapped his arms, his chest, his legs. The warden stood at the foot of the table. "Do you have any last words?" he asked. This was required, not optional. Brennan turned his head toward the glass. "I do," he said. His voice was steady. "I want to ask the families something." The warden hesitated. This wasn't usual. Last words were statements. Apologies. Prayers. Declarations of innocence. But not questions. "Go ahead," the warden said. Brennan looked at the clerk's wife. Then at the customer's son. "I want to know your names." Silence. The woman blinked. "I know who you lost," Brennan said. "I know what I did. I've known for 19 years. But I don't know you. I never asked. And I want to know before I go." No one moved. The warden glanced toward the glass. He had no protocol for this. The woman's husband put his hand on her arm. She pulled it away. She leaned forward slightly. "Margaret," she said. Her voice cracked on the second syllable. Brennan closed his eyes. "Open them." "Margaret," he repeated. "Thank you." He turned his head toward the younger man. The man stared back. His jaw was tight. He didn't speak. 30 seconds passed. Then, "David." Brennan nodded. "David." He looked back at the ceiling. "I'm sorry I took them from you. I'm sorry I never said that to your faces. I'm sorry it's too late." Margaret was crying. She wasn't making any sound, but her shoulders shook. David didn't move. The warden waited. Brennan closed his eyes again. "That's all," he said. The medical technician came in from the side door. He checked the foreline. He checked the straps. He nodded to the warden. The warden looked at the clock. 11:58. He lifted the phone on the wall. It was a direct line to the governor's office. If there was going to be a stay, it would come now. The line rang once. Twice. A voice answered. Proceed, it said. The warden hung up. He looked at Brennan. May God have mercy on your soul. Brennan didn't respond. The technician pressed the button. The first drug went in. Sodium thiopental. It's supposed to put you to sleep. Brennan's eyes stayed open for a few more seconds. Then they closed. The second drug followed. Pancuronium bromide. It stops the breathing. The third came last. Potassium chloride. It stops the heart. At 12:04 a.m., the doctor stepped forward. He checked for a pulse. There wasn't one. Time of death, the warden said. 12:04 a.m. The curtain closed. The witnesses were escorted out through separate doors. Margaret walked slowly. Her husband held her elbow. She didn't look back. David stopped at the threshold. He stood there. One of the guards waited. Sir. David didn't answer. He just stood. Then he walked out. The prison released a statement at 12:30 a.m. It confirmed the execution. It noted that the condemned had been given the opportunity for last words. It did not include what those words were. The protesters outside dispersed by 1 a.m. The news cycle moved on by morning. 3 weeks later, Margaret received a letter. It was from the paralegal who'd sat in the witness gallery, the one who worked on Brennan's case. Inside was a single page, handwritten. It was something Brennan had written 2 days before the execution. He'd asked the paralegal to send it. It said, Margaret and David, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't think I deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I thought about what I did every single day. I thought about the clerk. I thought about the man who tried to help. I thought about you. I didn't ask for your names because I thought it would make me feel better. I asked because you deserve to be more than just the victims to me. You were real. They were real. And I needed to say it out loud. I hope you find peace. I don't know if you will. I don't know if I did. I'm sorry. There was no signature. Margaret folded the letter. She put it in a drawer. She didn't throw it away. She didn't read it again either. David never received his copy. The paralegal sent it to the address on file, but it came back marked Return to Sender. No forwarding address. 6 months later, a journalist tried to write a story about the case. She contacted Margaret. Margaret declined to comment. She contacted David. His number was disconnected. She contacted the warden. He said he had nothing to add beyond the public record. The story was never published. There's a room in the prison where they keep the files. Execution records. Appeals. Letters. Photos. Thomas Brennan's file is in box 19A. It sits on a shelf next to 17 others. The room is locked. No one goes in there unless they have to. The lights are off most of the time. Margaret still lives in the same house. She doesn't talk about that night. Once, her daughter asked if it helped. If seeing it happen brought any kind of closure. Margaret didn't answer right away. Then she said, I don't know. Her daughter didn't ask again. There's no lesson here. No moment of clarity. Just a man who asked for 2 names. And 2 people who gave them. And whatever that meant to each of them. The rest is silence.